As the Jesus movement passed outward from Jerusalem, the city returned to its normal state as a Jewish city under Roman rule.
Jerusalem would have been a thriving city with upper class, middle class, lower class, everything you would have expected. It is the center of the region, it's the capital of the area. It was a bustling and important city. The population would have been mostly Jewish, but you're going to get a mixed crowd of different nationalities and in some cases different religions.
In the year 39 CE, Jerusalem went through a new upheaval. The Roman Emperor Caligula, known for his megalomania and cruelty, declared himself a god and ordered statues of himself to be built at the holy sites in Jerusalem. When the Jews understandably refused, he threw one of his most famous temper tantrums and threatened to destroy the Jewish temple. "So you are the enemies of the gods," he said, "the only people who refuse to recognize my divinity." Caligula died 2 years later, murdered by his own guards, and the temple was spared. But Rome's oppression of the Jews continued, with massive tax increases and the insistence that only Rome could choose Jerusalem's high priests. An ironic twist, as the Romans considered Judaism to be a nonsensical superstition. The Romans went further, and in 66 CE, they robbed the temple of some of its money. Enraged, the Jews revolted. But unwilling to tolerate any dissent, the Romans sent 60,000 soldiers to crush the Jewish revolt. The war escalated, and before it was over, Roman soldiers destroyed the temple.
The destruction of the city and of the temple in the year 70 is absolutely horrific. We're given the description by a number of people that were either eyewitnesses or lived just afterward. The whole city is demolished. Much of the population is either killed outright or taken into slavery. There's so much gold captured that the price of gold throughout the entire Roman Empire drops. There's so many slaves taken that the price of slaves throughout the Roman Empire drops. And the entire temple is destroyed.
One historian described the event. Flavius Josephus, a Jew who fought against Rome in the rebellion and later became a Roman citizen. He writes, "One would have thought that the hill itself on which the temple stood was seething hot, as full of fire on every part of it, that the blood was larger in quantity than the fire, and those that were killed more in number than those that killed them." On this wall is all that remains of a great arch known as Robinson's Arch. It once supported a huge walkway that was destroyed with the temple. These massive stones were part of the retaining wall of the Second Temple. They were hurled down to the pavement below by Roman soldiers. With their temple gone, the Jewish people now had to rethink the role and meaning of Jerusalem.
When the temple was destroyed, the Jews refused to give up that memory. And that memory was translated into prayer. That memory was translated into holiday observances. That memory was translated into religious poems. And that memory was carried with them for 2,000 years. So when there's a wedding, you break a glass, in memory of the destruction of Jerusalem. When you build a home, you leave a little piece unfinished. Zecher l'churban, memory of the destruction of the temple.
To this day, observant Jews recite a prayer 3 times a day called the Amidah, in which they ask God to rebuild Jerusalem speedily and restore the throne of King David. And twice each year, they intone the prayer, the wish to be next year in Jerusalem. Once at the close of the Passover meal, and again on the Jewish Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. The temple was gone, but sections of the wall that supported the Temple Mount still remain.